This is Tim with Conservative News from Montana. I'm here in Great Falls. I'm with Sheriff Slaughter, who is making a lot of headlines in the state of Montana because he is a constitutional sheriff and has stood up for the people of this great state. And he has a message for the people of Montana. And so with that, Sheriff, go ahead and give the message that you'd like to give to the people of this great state.
I think most important thing that I would like to say, I guess, is that just to be a good servant, just to take my oath seriously, but be a good servant to the community, and remember that we work for the people, and that our job is to discharge their wishes, in not only in our local communities but across the state. I think that's the most key thing that we can do when we're in these positions of trust like this.
And as we're moving forward in 2021 with a lot of challenges coming from not only federal government but different aspects of our public safety, etc. Is there anything here in your area that really people need to get a message from your office to be aware of and or help you with? That's the bottom line.
I think we did really well in this last year during legislation. Our legislators did a really good job of protecting elected officials like myself. They wrote a lot of really good laws that help us do our job more effectively and also more clearly help us stay in our lane, so to speak, which I think is a really good thing. I think that we need to really respect that legislative body of government because it is the true representative body of government in Montana. The legislative districts are broken down for very specific reasons to make sure that there's a good representation going to Helena. And I think they did a really good job. I honestly can't think of anything that really needs to be done. They gave us a lot of protections from federal government influences that may have caused us issues in the past that no longer won't be an issue. I thought they did a really responsible job of helping us govern and writing really responsible and laws that help us spread the word of freedom more than anything else. And I thought they did a really good job.
And I think you nailed something that the people that we're hearing from a lot is the separation of powers with the legislative, judicial, and executive have been kind of somewhat tipped on different scales, if you will. And this last session, we've heard a lot of people complimenting the fact that there has been that process restored kind of to where it's supposed to be under the Constitution.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it helps that there was a Republican majority in the legislature and a Republican governor. I think that helps because you don't get the conflict that you sometimes get when that doesn't happen. So I think that's one thing that that's an obvious thing we have to acknowledge to be realistic. Because we've had a Democrat governor and a Republican legislature for a long time. So that's always been created more friction and consternation and issues. So this year was fortunate. It was a fortunate opportunity for Montanans to be able to get laws passed. And there was a lot of really responsible laws. I think most in particularly was some of the government overreach we saw due to COVID in 2020, where we really saw government expand its authority beyond really what the people intended. I think that's the important thing, because all of the laws that the legislature pass are constitutional, and that's something that people don't understand a lot of times, but they are, until proven otherwise through a judicial process. But unless a case comes up that creates that judicial process, you have to deem those laws constitutional. So I think the legislature themselves going back, re-looking at those laws and undoing some old law that really is no longer applicable anymore, and to bring things up to date, and then particularly to deal with what we were dealing with COVID, was really important. And I thought they did a really good job. I was really, really proud of the representatives that went down there and represented us.
Very, very, very much echoed throughout the communities across Montana, where like you stated, kind of overreach with the COVID process and the individual rights of the citizens were called into question, basically. And so we really wanted to make sure that we talked to for example, sheriff like yourself that fully understand that foundation. And so with that, if any closing statements that you'd like to make to people of Montana, just to make sure they know how to expect the right thing for the people of Montana. Again, it's your story.
Yeah. I think one of the most critical things to understand is that to live in a free society, there's a lot of choice. There's a lot of individual freedom. And with that freedom, there is a little bit of element of risk. And that's what comes with freedom. If you want everything to be completely safe, then you have to give up a lot of your freedom and a lot of your right to obtain that. Throughout history, we've seen very safe communities throughout the times of history, but those histories were usually ruled pretty tightly by government. So it comes down to I work for the people. So what do the people want? And the people in Montana want freedom. They want individual rights and they want freedom, and that's evident by how they vote and how they choose people to represent them in our representative republic that we have. They really understand that. So I think it's just key that we understand that with that there is going to be an element of risk, and that risk is never going to go away. That's what it means to live in a free society. Is there a little bit of a risk, but the benefit of freedom and the ability to make your own choices and make your own livelihood and own way in this world far outweighs the risk, at least in my opinion.
Nailed that right straight on, Sheriff. We want to thank you so much for standing up for the rights of the people across the state of Montana. You are setting a prime example, and we're proud to be able to help you get your message out to the people. If there's anything that we can do, just give us a holler.
It's a huge honor. Thank you.
Okay.